character's need defines a story. It gives it heart, explores a theme, and keeps audiences thinking and feeling encouraged long after the final page is turned or the credits have rolled. That might sound difficult, but I'm gonna make a bold claim. It's easier than you think, and I believe that I can prove it.
Who are you, who are so wise in the ways of science?
I am Arthur, King of the Britons.
See, I too used to struggle with needs, themes, and messages because they're generally vague and hard to define. But with a little puzzling, I came up with some advice that cleared things up for me, and I'd love to share it with you.
Allow me to shed some light on the subject.
It consists of just 3 questions and a bit of philosophy, so it shouldn't take much time to give this a try, and of course, you're free to use whatever you like and toss the rest.
I cannot jump the distance, you'll have to trust me.
This time around, we're going to be using 3 examples: Steven Universe, The Incredibles, and The Lord of the Rings. These are going to be the fuel to our fire as we craft a spectacular story need. And now, let's get into it. Question 1 is, what advice would you give your main character? Just imagine it. Your character stumbles into the room right now and runs up to you, the god of their story, and asks, "What's the best thing I can do right now?" What do you say?
Who are you and how did you get in here?
I'm the locksmith, and I'm the locksmith.
The answer is what we'd call wisdom. And this is where philosophy comes into it. Philosophy, simply put, is the love of wisdom. Literally, philo, the love of, and Sophie, wisdom. Philosophy gets a bad rap because major philosophers argue over the unanswerables. Life's purpose, the meaning of human existence, the mystery of reality itself.
I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
But small wisdoms deal with important everyday things like share with others, eat well, get a good night's sleep, don't judge people. They're taught in children's stories not because they're less important, but because they're fundamental.
What's your favorite idea? Mine is being creative.
Middle wisdoms deal with the ongoing struggles of life, shouldering workplace exhaustion, maintaining relationships as an adult, and how to age gracefully in your twilight years.
I'm going on a date later, and my date expects me to look younger. Can I have some of your blood?
If you've ever wondered why so many philosophers ironically seem depressed, it's usually because they're trying to crack the big stuff and forgetting all the small and medium guidelines that reliably lead to a happier and healthier life. The point being, you don't have to be a super philosopher. You don't need to tell us why we exist on planet Earth or determine the true nature of reality, because the simple, practical wisdom you have from your own life is so much more effective and useful than any of that.
And I say, Zangief, you are a bad guy. But this does not mean you're a bad guy.
So give it some time, ponder a bit, and you're gonna realize you have plenty to share. And with that said, the next step is integration. If your character was already flawed, great, you're already well on your way. However, if your character was perfect or you decided to start with the theme and then create a character afterward, it's time to do some breaking. Question number 2 begins. What obstacles, if any, stand in your character's way? We give characters obstacles because we can more easily relate to broken people who either need wisdom and lack it, or have it but are struggling to implement it. I also want to say, before we go on, contrary to popular views, I adore aspirational and practically perfect characters. Oftentimes, these will fill the supporting roles of mentors.
As I expected, Mary Poppins practically perfect in every way.
But there are even some effective protagonists that fit this mold. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes was a highly intelligent and rational thinker who also happened to be a moral juggernaut.
Oh, thank God. Oh my God! Juggernaut!
He's the kind of guy who could solve every case with flair, but also, as in the story of the Blue Carbuncle, he would allow a thief to go, knowing that that was a good man who had learned his lesson. In Sherlock's own words, "I suppose that I am committing a felony, but it is just possible that I am saving a soul." I mean, doesn't that line just blow you away? That's fantastic! Arguably, it is Dr. Watson who is the viewpoint character for Sherlock Holmes, but I digress. We go back to our broken characters. When it comes to the obstacles that are barring us from gaining or using wisdom, I'm going to use a fresh exercise for the fun of it. I do like the classic storytelling lie, or something false that the character believes that holds them back, but let's try something new, something a little experimental.
We've got science!
Theoretically, if we were perfect beings, we'd have 3 qualities that we do not currently have: omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence. Basically, we'd be all-knowing, all-present, and all-powerful. Since we're not perfect, we're deficient in each of these 3 areas, and that leads us to 3 unique internal struggles. For example, since we're not all-knowing, sometimes we simply aren't aware of the right or best thing to do.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Your character might be aware of this and feel lost, or they might think that they're living their best life and not realize that they have the potential for something so much greater.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A fun example of this is the animated show Steven Universe. Steven is the son of a human man and an alien gem, a race of sentient space rocks that once tried to absorb our planet's life until a small group rebelled and became our protectors. Steven's goal is to stop the war from reigniting, but to do so, he needs to understand how to use his gem's power, which comes from his emotions, and that means he needs to understand himself. Now, we'll come back to this, but for now, we next up have omnipresence. You can't be everywhere, doing everything all at once.
I got bored one day. And I put everything on a bagel.
When we have multiple good options, the issue becomes learning to juggle them. Look at The Incredibles. Bob Parr, aka Mr. Incredible. He's a superhero who's forced to be just a normal dad after the government banned all hero work.
It is time for their secret identity to become their only identity. Time for them to join us or go away.
Now, he knows he has more to offer the world. And when he's given the chance to moonlight as Mr. Incredible, he jumps at the opportunity despite the risk of uprooting his family once again.
The supers aren't gone, Mr. Incredible. You're still here. You can still do great things.
Now, at first, everything seems to work out, but the job isn't everything it seems. And we're gonna leave that one there for now. Finally, we have omnipotence. Obviously, we can't do everything. Externally, that would probably mean physical strength or monetary power, or social and political influence, but internally, we focus instead on inner strength.
Souls of the animal kingdom. Eagle, fox, bottlenose dolphin, octopus, house cat.
This is a really powerful one because it usually creates these epic stories where characters know the right path, but they have to strive through the pain. And I think that Dumbledore said it best.
Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
But while I love Harry Potter, it's hard to find a better example than Frodo in Lord of the Rings. Carrying the One Ring to Mount Doom to defeat Sauron and save the world is clearly the right thing.
What did you hear? Speak!
Nothing important. That is, I heard a good deal about a ring and a Dark Lord and something about the end of the world.
However, he is a content, easygoing hobbit, and that does give him a natural resistance to the ring's temptation, but the journey is going to be long and hard, and it is going to test him.
Do they rock or suck?
They have not started playing yet.
It was a test, Jimmy.
1, 2.
You passed.
Which brings us nicely to question 3 and our final step. How does the character overcome their obstacles? Now, depending on the issue, whether that's a lack of understanding, presence, or power, the character is going to need to seek one of these 3 things: understanding, prioritization, and finally, growth and companionship. There's a secret one, Grace, but I'm gonna get back to that in a bit. First up, let's talk about understanding.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
It's the key to our lack of omniscience, and it comes from 2 sources: experience and learning. Experience we gain from living life ourselves, but learning is secondhand experiences that are offered to us by teachers.
Show me wax on, wax off.
Yes! I chose Steven Universe because he has both. The crystal gems, garnet, pearl, and amethyst give him advice all along the way. But Steven's experiences teach him as well. Sometimes, harshly. Look at when he switches bodies with a friend, Lars, and then tries to fix Lars's problems all by himself.
I guess while I'm in here, I'd better do my best to respect Lars's body. And his privacy.
A few moments later.
I, Lars, promise to go out and do my very best at being your son.
3 hours later.
What did you do? I was acting weird all day and you all just liked it?
As they say, life is a difficult teacher. She gives the test first and then the lessons after. But those lessons can be some of the most powerful. So, if your character lacks understanding, give them a mentor or let them learn from their mistakes.
Wait a minute. How did this happen? We're smarter than this.
Prioritization, our second stop, helps characters juggle their responsibilities. It's a developed skill that allows a character to decide how to best spend their time. Mr. Incredible realizes he needs to be a hero and a father.
So obsessed with being undervalued that I undervalued all of you.
Dad? Shh, don't interrupt.
By the end, Mr. Incredible realizes not only can he be a hero and a father, his whole family can use their gifts to help the world as long as they balance them appropriately with their alter egos.
Pick up the pace! Come on! Pull back! Pull back! Make it close! seconds!
And last but not least, we overcome our need for power with growth and companionship. When it comes to inner strength, our struggles produce perseverance and grit. And when that ain't enough, a good friend can help us push further than we thought possible. Stories show this through trials and challenges, and our boy Frodo has plenty. We see him run from wraiths, get stabbed, lose a companion, strike out alone.
Going to Mordor alone. Of course you are. And I'm coming with you.
He hikes through progressively more and more hellish terrain, gets caught by Faramir, is stabbed again, and all of this is while resisting the growing temptation of the One Ring itself. I'm just gonna say it. The Frodo that initially left the Shire couldn't have done all of that from the beginning. And yeah, at times he does falter, but when that happens, there's always a companion to help him steel his resolve, which leads to some of the most moving moments in cinema.
All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo. And it's worth fighting for.
So, let your characters be weak. Let them struggle and grow, and if the going ever becomes too much, send a friend to help them through.
Thank you.
Finally, before we conclude, I hinted at grace. See, life is difficult. Good wisdom is hard to discern, and implementing it is a lifelong journey. When, not if, we make mistakes, lose our focus, or lack the strength to do the right thing, both we and our characters need to forgive ourselves so that we can move on and improve. Otherwise, we get trapped in guilt and shame. And that is a wrap, folks. If you're struggling to create powerful needs in your story, maybe try asking what advice you would give your main character and then draw from your own rich life experience. Then ask what obstacles stand in their path, whether that's the lack of knowledge, the inability to do everything at once, or their need for more inner strength.
Inner peace. Inner peace.
And finally, ask how they'll overcome that problem. Will they seek knowledge and learn on the job? Will they choose what's most important? Or will they beef up and get help?
Rick? Summer?
Obviously, these things are not mutually exclusive. You can add a little bit of each, like a character chemistry experiment. And of course, the catalyst to all that is grace, so don't forget it.
The only problem is, I can't remember what I've forgotten.
Please, of course, like the video. Ooh, sorry, I'm slapping the camera over here. Please like the video if you enjoy it, comment if you got a thought, and subscribe if you would like to see more. But apart from that, thank you for stopping by, and until next time.
Unless you want to talk about you, who you are, then I'm fascinated. I'm in.